100 things Doug and I could talk to you about today with this, but staying clamped onto the bike tight is the one foundational thing that you need to be consistently good at starts.
Starts, you know, whether you're racing or not, it's just always good to learn a little bit more about controlling your bike. Starts are a very challenging thing. Starts are something you want to build a routine, and that way it comes down to just executing that routine. You know, we don't want to be doing something different each time we come up to the start gate, right? So we got to just understand the basics, and then it just comes down to execution. Body position on the bike for starts is very important. We talked about being locked in, which, you know, the bike is going to go, right? When we accelerate, let that clutch out, that bike's going. So one of our biggest tasks is going along with it. So we want to make sure we've only got a few contact points. So butt on the seat, hands, a little bit the thighs, and then your feet to the foot pegs. So we want to make sure and make maximum use of all of those points of contact.
There's sort of a low spot to your seat, okay? You're not way up on the gas cap, you're not slid way in the back. So if you slide forward or slide back into that, you're gonna find that spot. I call it the saddle, right? So that's where you're gonna be. You might be a tad bit forward. You wanna be a little bit further, maybe a little bit, okay?
Yeah, come up just a little, yeah,
just,
about right
okay,
there.
And what that's gonna do is when you're in that spot, you're gonna find that your boot's gonna be just in front of your foot peg. Instead of sliding your hips and everything forward close to the bars, your butt stays in the same spot, right in the saddle. And if you've got a lot of traction, your upper body comes down. If you don't have very much traction, your upper body stays up because you're going to let some weight go back. It's a lot of traction gets really to come down. So like Doug's saying, once you find where you want to sit on the seat and clamp your legs and your boots in front of the foot pegs tight, that's the technique. This is the whole thing that we need to learn in this short time today. That's what's going to hold you on the bike. When you let the clutch out and the bike starts to move, that's how you're going to go with it. This is the whole foundation for doing starts is what we're going to work on today. And that's clamping your lower body onto the bike. Okay, now I'm a little bit big for this, but in this case, like with you taller riders, okay, tall guys have a tendency to want their feet out like this because you feel cramped. Well, you gotta let the clutch out, and most of the time their feet stay, and you end up like this. Once your boots are behind the foot pegs, you're screwed. You're screwed. The front wheel's coming up. Locked in and clamped on around the bike, your abs will be tight, your hamstrings, your calf muscles. When you do it right, those muscles are tight because you're essentially pulling your boots under the chassis. Your boots aren't under the bike, but you're pulling underneath of the chassis in front of the foot pegs. You're bending the foot pegs up, and you're gonna clamp on to where it pulls your butt down, and your legs are tight. This is tight. Inside your boots here are tight inside of the chassis like this. All of this is tight, and you'll know that you're doing it right if your hamstrings are engaged. If your quads are feeling like maybe they're a little loose, they're going to be in the wrong position. Actually, where you're balancing on the bike is you're going to be balancing on the sort of the outer edge of your boot, like the outside of your boot. Okay, your foot's not going to be flat because your foot is tucked in like this. Okay, so yeah, there you go. And see where your boot's at? You're on the outer edge of your boot. That's what's touching. Okay? It's super uncomfortable. I promise you. Like it's uncomfortable until you start doing it right. There are 100 things Doug and I could talk to you about today with this, but staying clamped onto the bike tight is the one foundational thing that you need to be consistently good at starts.
Another thing, throttle and clutch. You know, a lot of people ask, oh, where should my throttle be? It's just enough to where when you grab onto that with the clutch, it's enough to go, right? And like I said, that's where it becomes important to understand how much grip you have. Because if you've got a lot of grip, that's going to need to be higher, right? And if it's real slippery, then that comes down lower. But it just needs to be enough that I can do what I need to do to accelerate aggressively out of the gate and without it bogging down or without it just lighting up. I need just that right amount. 2 fingers on the grip, 2 fingers on the clutch. That's what I find is the best way. That way you can hang onto the bike securely and have good control.
Always in first gear, right?
No, it's second gear.
Second gear?
Yeah. 250F?
Yeah.
Yeah, second gear is fine. And if, make sure you're lined up. See how you're a little bit out? Walk.
Oh, good call.
Now, maybe just roll up and back a little bit. There you go. You're pretty straight now. So it's not a lot, but it's about like that.
And then just dump the clutch.
Yeah, but you don't dump it. It's a controlled release. It's
Okay.
aggressive, but it's...
Okay.
You want to drag it about out to that rock.
Okay.
So about a bike length and a half. If you just go, then you're not controlling the bike.
So both feet need to be down, and put your boots in like almost like under the bike. You need to be bending the foot pegs up, and you need to be having your boots have to be tight to the chassis. Yeah, I mean the gates are really difficult, but you can let the clutch out a lot harder. Scoot forward on the seat a little bit more, and just look. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That's a little bit better. Okay. And then get your so don't think about your back being rounded. Think about your spine being a little bit straighter, and you bend at the hips instead of being like rounded. Is you're gonna unlock your hips a little bit and straighten your spine out, and then your chest comes down. So if you kind of see it, it's like really like athletic looking. Like this is not athletic. Let us hear Mike do that.
Comes up, split the clutch. Don't let off the gas.
Okay.
Split the clutch, then the front end will come down.
Yeah, I think that helped to see you do it.
Yeah. So as you let the clutch out, give it throttle.
Okay.
Okay.
First time ever doing that. Thanks, Jeff. That was fucking fun, guys. That was really fun.